Hello, everybody. It has been a few weeks. I have missed you guys. I'm definitely glad to be here with y'all. Happy Sunday. It is Sunday, December 8th. And I see you guys in the chat. Hello, Bonnie, Amanda, Carrie, Forrest, Oasis Cat. Let's see, did I miss anybody? I think Ricky. I saw Ricky. My mouse is being weird. Yeah, there's Ricky. Hi, Ricky. Yes, I have missed you guys. I've been super busy. Things have been, uh, yeah, things have been pretty crazy. So I'm trying to figure out when I'm going to be able to stream. But my schedule will be changing in like a month. So I'll probably be back in the mornings in a month. So I hope everybody is doing well. Let's see. All right. So we are going to get started with what everybody has been talking about, which is the assassin that everybody is looking for that murdered the United Healthcare CEO in New York a couple days ago. They are releasing new footage. They have now released footage of him in getting in a taxi. They found a backpack with Monopoly money. It's just, yeah, it's definitely like something out of a movie where yeah, it's like something out of a movie. That's all I can even say. So let's see, I have this first video that is, let's see, this update is 3 hours old. Um, so I'm looking to see if there's anything new. Nope, not playing that video. Okay, I think this one's one of the latest ones. All right. Yeah, I feel like he's sending a message, especially with the bullet saying, literal words on it, the monopoly money. It's he's definitely trying to send a message. I'm just not exactly sure what message he's trying to send yet, but I think he'll send a letter or something. I'm pretty sure. I feel like this is going to turn into one of those like mocking the law enforcement. I'll be surprised if he doesn't try to contact them in some way.
Now to the manhunt for the suspected killer of the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson, who was gunned down on a Manhattan sidewalk. NYPD investigators gathering more evidence every day since the killing. And this weekend, searching a pond in Central Park. ABC's Aaron Katursky joins us live with the very latest. Aaron, good morning. We just got new pictures from NYPD also this morning.
And those images are important because it's believed to be the image of the shooter just after the shooting, getting into a taxi. We'll show you those in a second. This is now a nationwide manhunt. The NYPD is fielding hundreds of tips. The suspected shooter has not been identified yet, though he left behind a tantalizing clue. This morning, the hunt for the killer of United Healthcare chief Brian Thompson enters a fifth day.
The net is tightening, and we're going to bring this person to justice.
Overnight, the NYPD releasing these new images.
Yeah, the fact that he also used such a large silencer too, it was so, I guess I'm glad that there was nobody right there, but people knew immediately what happened. So I don't know that the silencer really mattered. That was a really big silencer. That's not something you can be inconspicuous with. So I have questions about that as well. And of course, the deny, defend, depose on the bullets that they found. It looks like he was smart enough to have the mask on most of the time in the taxi, except in the hostel where he took the mask down. I've seen people in New York doing lookalike contests as jokes. There's been a lot of jokes and stuff connected to this.
Of the suspect, showing him getting into a taxi. NYPD dive teams searching the boat pond in Central Park, looking for evidence, including the murder weapon and the bicycle the suspect was seen pedaling. The pond is near the spot where investigators recovered what they say they think is the suspect's backpack. They took it directly to the NYPD forensic lab for examination, and sources tell ABC News it contained a jacket and Monopoly money.
It is important to have the backpack because you may be able to pull off some genetic or forensic material, like maybe DNA.
The suspect fled the shooting scene on foot, then is seen entering Central Park on a bike. He exited the park 8 minutes later and was seen here pedaling on West 85th Street near Columbus Avenue. By 7 a.m., police said the suspect had ditched the bike and hailed a taxi. By 7:30, 45 minutes after the shooting, the suspect was gone. Police say they saw him on video near the bus station by the George Washington Bridge, where they believe he boarded a bus and left the city. The FBI is now joining the search and offering a $50,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of this man, seen smiling at a hostel on Manhattan's Upper West Side. Police say he entered New York on a bus that originated in Atlanta. They don't know where he boarded, but say he arrived just after 10 p.m. November 24th, 10 days before the shooting. Wherever he went, police say he paid with cash and, except for that one time, made sure a mask covered his face. Investigators have not determined a motive. Police say nothing so far indicates the shooting had anything to do with the personal life of Brian Thompson, a father of two going through a divorce. Investigators are focused on clues that suggest a disgruntled employee or angry client of United Healthcare. The words deny, defend, and depose were written in Sharpie on shell casings found at the scene, echoing this 2010 book about the insurance industry's failure to pay certain claims. Protesters have targeted United Healthcare at its headquarters in Minnesota, calling out Thompson's $10 million pay package. His death has unleashed frustration with the insurance industry on social media, where the suspect has been venerated.
Brian Thompson may not have personally been the target, but he represented the system.
NYPD officials believe they have made significant progress now closing in on the suspect. Still, though, no official identification has been made.
And Aaron, that point you're making at the end of your piece about the reaction by many people because of what Brian Thompson represented has been fascinating to see, scary at some points. What are we learning about the contents of the backpack?
So the backpack contained a Tommy Hilfiger jacket and Monopoly money, which seems like he may have been toying with investigators or intended for police to find the backpack, but they handled it very carefully because never mind what's on the inside, they wanted to make sure there was they could get some DNA perhaps off the outside, so they took it up with an excavator. Wow. Human hands never touched it. It went straight to a lab for analysis.
And Aaron, any new information about the gun itself, and what do we know about why NYPD detectives have gone to Atlanta?
Yeah, they've been getting a lot of tips coming in from Atlanta, probably because the bus that the suspect is believed to have taken into New York City originated there. And so the NYPD detectives wanted to be on the ground to help Atlanta police follow up. The gun itself is a rather unique 9mm pistol. They're investigating whether it's used on ranches and farms to put down an animal because it can fire quietly, but it's bolt action. The magazine is in the grip and you have to cycle it manually. And they did seem to have some proficiency with the gun.
And just to be clear, still no ID.
Still no official identification, though, Gio. They want to believe they're close.
That's unbelievable. All right, Karen Katursky, thank you.
Yeah, that is crazy. I think I saw that law enforcement said that they had a name, but they're not releasing it. I don't know that they actually have a name. I did put in the chat the link of the lookalike contest that they had. I'm going to put it again. Yeah, I also have moved since last Christmas, so I'm not really sure where I put everything, unfortunately. Yeah, so that's going to be fun. Weird, they didn't really show the... Oh, they did show that. Let's see. Ah! Hold on. Oh, I'm in the wrong screen. That's why I did that. Sorry, guys. But But yeah, there's the link in the chat if you wanted to check out the lookalike contest.
Authorities continue a massive search for the man suspected of killing United Healthcare executive Brian Thompson. Police releasing these new images of the suspect. They believe the backpack in Central Park they have found belongs to him, and inside they found Monopoly money and a jacket, but no gun. Police are now investigating if the weapon may be a veterinary gun used to put down animals. Police also clarifying the detail about words written on the shell casing, saying they were depose, delay, and deny, written in Sharpie, one word on each bullet. We're also learning the person of interest may have left New York City through a busy bus terminal. The search now expanding to Georgia.
Yeah, I would assume that they've already left New York. They seem like, sorry, my cat is being a menace today. She just ran out of the room. All right. And now she's screaming. Great. Yeah, I think he's long gone. This isn't some amateur that just decided to do this. He seems like a professional, really smart. I think that he could potentially get away with, if this is the only view of his face that they have. I mean, there's a lot of people that can look like this. I think they need more of his face. He was pretty careful, except for right here. I want to know what the hostile employee looks like that got the assassin to lower his mask by flirting with him. I want to know what she looks like. Hello, Joe. Hey, Tash. Yeah. Have they interviewed the hostile employee? Probably not publicly. All right, let me delete this video. Okay, so an update to Susan Simpson, the missing woman out of San Antonio. They have now released reports that they have found DNA on a saw that is Susan's, and a grand jury has officially indicted him on that. Zoom in. Let me see. Yeah, that's as good as I can. Well, can I go any bigger? No. Nope, that's as good as I can do. I mean, he seems like a good-looking guy. I mean, I would have had, if he's a pro, he probably has multiple outfits, I would think. I would think that he would wear different stuff all the time, so he would be harder to remember and harder to track. That would make sense. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it's multiple people. All right. So here is the update from KSAT, which is a local San Antonio station, on Susan Simpson's disappearance.
I want to get to some breaking news we've been following for the last half hour or so. Numerous sources confirming to KSAT that investigators in the Suzanne Simpson murder case have told the Simpson family that DNA belonging to Suzanne was found on a saw.
That saw belonging to her husband, Brad Simpson, who is in jail, now charged with Suzanne's murder. Investigators are still searching for Suzanne nearly 2 months after she was last seen in early October. Meanwhile, Brad Simpson is scheduled to appear in court Monday on charges of murder in Suzanne's death.
I had a source tell me that Olmos Park police called the family today and told them that they are still searching for Suzanne's body, but that her DNA, in fact, was found on that saw, a reciprocating saw that it's alleged Brad Simpson tried to hide from investigators. Now, as the story continues to unfold, you can follow along on air and online. We just published a brand new article earlier today detailing what's next for Brad and his lawyers as they get ready for his first court appearance next week. You can read or watch that story on our website, ksat.com, right now.
Our top story at 10, new reaction from family as Brad Simpson is indicted on several charges related to the murder of his wife, Suzanne Simpson. The decision from the grand jury coming down this afternoon, nearly 2 months after Suzanne went missing. KENS 5 reporter Megan Reyna joins us live in studio. And Megan, what is the family saying tonight?
EC's Barton Simpson, Brad's brother, posted online stating their family is deeply troubled and heartbroken by the events surrounding the grand jury indictment. He said the details of the case are disturbing and painful. We have a copy of one of the 3 indictments, which reveals they still do not know how Suzanne died or where her body is.
Since October 9th, Brad Simpson has been in jail, initially accused of assaulting his wife, Suzanne Simpson, back on October 6th, the night she went missing. He would eventually be accused of killing her, despite the fact investigators have yet to find Suzanne's body.
The officers and law enforcement have gathered enough evidence in order to charge him with murder.
And on Tuesday, a grand jury felt there was enough circumstantial evidence to indict Brad, allowing the case to move forward to trial. That evidence includes a video showing Brad driving around with a bulky item covered by a tarp in the back of his truck in Kendall County the day after his wife disappeared. Investigators say that same day Brad bought cement from a Home Depot in Bernie and asked someone where the nearest dump was. But now Brad is also charged with several other felonies, including aggravated assault with a deadly weapon causing serious bodily injury, tampering with the corpse, tampering with physical evidence, and possession of a prohibited weapon. Charges that range in punishment from 2 to 99 years in prison, depending on what Brad is convicted of. In a statement online, Brad's brother writes, "We urge Brad to do the right thing by fully cooperating with the authorities. For the sake of his children and the family who loves him, we ask him to accept responsibility and place himself at the mercy of the court," end quote. District Attorney Joe Gonzalez released a statement as well, writing, "We extend our deepest sympathies to the family of Suzanne Simpson as we move forward in the pursuit of justice."
An examination hearing was scheduled for next Monday. That is when the defense was going to argue there was not enough evidence for an indictment. But since the grand jury has already made this decision, that hearing has been canceled. EC's
Megan, thank you.
It would be really nice if he would just say where he put her, but he won't. He won't do it for his children. He should, but he won't. Okay, my dog has decided to lay on me. Okay. She's on my feet. Sorry about that. This is like the marriages having issues. Seems like people are just killing their spouses instead of getting divorced or walking away. This, I feel like, happens a couple times a month. There's another case of a woman that's missing that her husband has been indicted for her missing, and they can't find the body either. Like, this is becoming more and more common. So I'm hoping he'll feel guilty enough to tell them where she is, or I hope that they just find her. The kids just want to be able to bury their mom. So the next case is out of the Dallas area. So there was a killer that had eaten the victim's heart. He was sentenced to death. That doesn't surprise me. I guess that would make it a capital case. I don't really see them use the death penalty that often anymore. So with the details of this case, I'm not really surprised.
Presiding jury, has the jury reached a verdict?
Yes.
And the verdict form. All right, were your answers unanimous?
Yes.
All right. Verdict is as follows. Special issue number 1. Do you find from the evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that there is a probability that the defendant would commit criminal acts of violence that would constitute a continuing threat to society? Answer. We, the jury, unanimously find from the evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that the answer to special issue number 1 is yes. Special issue number 2. Taking into consideration all of the evidence, including the circumstances of the offense, the defendant's character and background,
and the personal moral culpability of the defendant, do you find that there is sufficient mitigating circumstance or circumstances to warrant that a sentence of life imprisonment without parole rather than a death sentence be imposed? Answer. We, the jury, unanimously find that the answer to special issue number 2 is no. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, a poll has been requested, so I'm going to call out your juror number, and I'm going to ask you if this is your verdict. Juror number 3, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 5, is this your verdict?
Juror number 6.
Ms. Fregoso?
Yes.
Juror number 17, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 34, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 46, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 74, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 89, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 93, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 96, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 113, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 131, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 159, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Defense counsel, is there any reason why sentence should not be pronounced? Any legal reason?
No legal reason, Your Honor. It's fine.
Therefore, Jason Allen Thornburg, you have been adjudged by a jury to be guilty of capital murder, and the juror has answered the special issues, making it mandatory that your punishment be death. Therefore, this court sentences you, Jason Allen Thornburg, to death. The clerk of this court shall no later than the 10th day after this court enters its order setting the date for execution, issue a warrant under the seal of this court for the execution of the sentence of death, which shall be directed to the Director of the Correctional Institutions Division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice at Huntsville, Texas, commanding the Director to proceed at the time and place named in the order of execution to carry the same into execution. This sentence shall be executed at any time after the hour of 6 p.m. on the day set for the execution.
So this person is Jason Thornburg, and I was looking up what he's done. So he did human sacrifices, apparently. This happened in West Fort Worth, where the police found bodies in a dumpster burned. And he had killed 3 people: David Loris, Lauren Phillips, Mary Cruz Mathis. He killed those 3 people. He told the police that he felt that they needed to be sacrificed. He had in-depth knowledge of the Bible, believed he was called by God to commit human sacrifices. He also killed his ex-girlfriend, Tanya Bigay, in Arizona, and Mark Joel, a former roommate. How the hell did he get away with so many murders? Yeah, looks like he's definitely mentally ill. There's something wrong with him there. I've been listening to a lot of cults podcast, and like the amount of cult leaders that believe this kind of stuff or that are mentally ill, schizophrenic, all these different things, and they get a following, and it's crazy. And yeah, most of the cult leaders are mentally ill. It seems like, not all of them, but well, most of them. They're schizophrenic or narcissistic personality disorder. But yeah, so this person clearly mentally ill, but definitely needs to be locked up because they're dangerous. So locked up in some capacity. Okay. Next story coming out of Fulton County, Atlanta, right where they're looking for the assassin. Oh, sorry, that was my LaCroix. The Fulton County District Attorney's Office has dropped charges in the YSL trial, which has been the longest, most expensive trial that Fulton County has had. Hello, 80s Music Man. Thank you for joining. Accidentally The collective IQ of America is declining and fast. Yes, it is. I don't know. I think he might be. I don't know what his ethnicity is. He could be uh, some sort of Native American from, Mexico or something like that, because there's a lot of indigenous blood there too. But I'm gonna put the article again about the guy that we were just playing. There's the article in the chat if you guys wanted to look more into him. So yeah, pretty horrific um, case and trial, but he obviously is mentally ill if he thought he had to do human sacrifices and God told him to do it. But anyway, now to the most expensive trial that Fulton County and Atlanta has ever had being dropped. So a waste of time for the 6 remaining defendants. Good job.
Evening, the Fulton County District Attorney's Office has filed to drop charges against 6 of the remaining YSL defendants. They had their cases severed from the original trial for several reasons. The DA says dismissing these cases will ease safety and security concerns during the trial for the few defendants who remain. If these charges are dismissed, only 5 of the original 28 men indicted would still be awaiting trial. Now, this comes just days after a jury delivered mostly not guilty verdicts for Diamante Kendrick and Shannon Stillwell in the high-profile RICO case. Those verdicts closing Georgia's longest trial in state history after more than a year of headlines and controversy. Defense attorney Doug Weinstein, representing Kendrick, also known as Yak Gotti, sat down for an extended interview with Zach Merchant of our 11 Alive political team. It's set to air this Sunday on the Georgia Vote, and here's some of what you can expect.
How many criminal trials have you been a defense attorney?
Including this one.
Including this one?
One.
This was your first criminal trial?
This was being thrown into the deep end. Yes, my first criminal trial.
Now that your involvement with this case has come to a close and you look back on it now, how does it compare in reality to what you expected it would be going into it?
This case is unlike any normal civil or criminal case. The amount of bizarre and crazy things that happened over the course of this case.
Certainly an interesting conversation there. You can watch them discuss everything this Sunday at 11 a.m. on the Georgia Vote.
The mother of a murder.
Hold on. Let's see. 80s Music Man. Atlanta is a dog mess with wasteful cases. Yes, it is. There's a lot of stuff going on there. I also think that the assassin is not actually from Atlanta. He just came through Atlanta because that's what assassins do. He probably switched a lot of places to confuse them. I think that he did a lot of planning. So this is a situation that is in the San Antonio area. This is a Texas cheerleader that was murdered, and the mom has had lots of issues with the justice system. Unfortunately, it's a very common story.
Cheerleader in Edna, Texas, says the system has failed her twice. First, the suspect charged with killing her daughter was in the country illegally. Now, his trial set for this week has been postponed. She shared her frustrations with Jason Miles.
I first met Jackie Medina 2 days after she found her daughter Elizabeth dead in a bathtub.
A mother should never go through what I went through.
A year later, she says the vivacious cheerleader's sheer presence is among the things she misses the most.
Her smile, her laugh, everything.
Police say 16-year-old Elizabeth was fatally stabbed in the family's home at the Cottonwood Apartments. 24-year-old Rafael Romero, who exhibited stalking-like behavior before the crime, according to court documents, was later arrested in Schulenburg. He was supposed to go on trial for capital murder this week back in Edna, but it was postponed until at least February.
I was basically distraught, heartbroken.
Medina says she has mixed emotions about attending the trial, though it's something she feels obligated to do.
Dreading details that, mothers don't want to hear, but expecting answers that I've been waiting for.
She believes stricter laws might have prevented Romero, an illegal immigrant from Mexico, from ever crossing paths with her daughter.
I just feel very disappointed in the system.
Now she just hopes the system eventually delivers the justice Lisbeth deserves and wants no less than the death penalty for her accused killer.
If it would have been me years back, I would say just leave him in jail. But when it happens to you as being a mother and this happens to your daughter, you want the max, you want the worst, because he had no mercy on my daughter. So why should I have any on him?
Yeah, I know what she means. I know what that feels like. I get it. Totally understand. There's a friend of mine that her son was murdered in 2019, December of 2019, and they're still dealing with the trial. It hasn't happened. It keeps getting delayed, delayed, delayed. It's been like, yeah, it's been far too long that she's been waiting for justice for her son. It's ridiculous. And the murderer's out on bond, and he breaks conditions and nothing happens, of course. So, yeah, the system sucks. But anyway, so I talk a lot about youth crime and that happening all over the world. Uh, it's happening everywhere. Australia, Japan, the UK, the United States. So Baltimore has compiled some crime data, and they are also having issues with youth crime. It's not a surprise.
We do finally have some numbers from the Department of Juvenile Services. How many kids and teens are committing crimes county by county? Fox 25's Jessica Babb joins us live with that breakdown tonight. Jess.
So I've been working to get a lot more data from many other law enforcement agencies and jurisdictions. And while every law enforcement agency organizes this data a little differently, we are getting a glimpse as to what the issue of juvenile crime looked like for the month of November. For instance, from the 7 jurisdictions that I've heard back from so far, about 400 juveniles were charged in the month of November. And that number could only go up because we are still waiting on additional data from Baltimore City Police. As juveniles continue to commit crimes across Maryland, 1 month into the new juvenile justice laws taking effect, with the Department of Juvenile Services slow to provide information, it's been a game of guess who. Was the juvenile arrested? Were they detained? And are they being charged for committing a crime? So we're going county by county, digging into the data given to us by police departments, showing the number of juvenile arrests in November. In Baltimore County, there were 232 juveniles arrested or charged. That comes out to about 7 juveniles a day. And it's a comparable number to the month before, in October. In Baltimore City, 70 juvenile cases were brought to juvenile booking for review of detention for crimes like assault, carjacking, robberies, and stealing cars. But what's not clear is how many cases outside of that were referred to DJS and how many total juveniles are facing charges. We've been asking for 2 days, but so far have yet to get those numbers. In Howard County, there were 46 total juvenile arrests, 9 more than in October. Howard County Police breaking that number down, saying 16 were juvenile arrests. 1 was a juvenile arrest diversion, 27 were juvenile referrals, and 2 were juvenile citations. In Harford County, the sheriff's office says 27 juveniles were charged but not arrested. Havre de Grace police say they had 6 juvenile arrests. Aberdeen police say 5 juveniles were charged, one of which was charged as an adult. In Carroll County, the sheriff's office says 11 juvenile cases were referred to DJS, but one of them was a child in need of supervision petition without any criminal charges. They say in looking at stats, the vast majority are referred to DJS, not handled by an arrest, but that doesn't count other law enforcement agencies in Carroll County. And while many jurisdictions say it's too soon to see what impacts the new juvenile justice laws will have, many say they're a step toward holding juveniles accountable.
Really went all out with the guess who.
And as of
Loved
tonight,
it.
we are
Good
still
job.
waiting to hear back from other jurisdictions with their juvenile arrest numbers. And like I mentioned in that story, Baltimore police are working to get us that additional information. Live in Baltimore, Jessica Babb, Fox 45 News.
I'm Mary Bubala.
Yeah, you guys did so good with the guess who. Loved that. They had very artistic shots there with the phone and the, putting the guess who things down, the flippy things. I don't even know what to call it. Yeah, Shelley, I agree. I don't agree with killing as a solution for the CEO. Uh, am I upset with insurance? Yes. Um, but I also, don't believe in that. So yeah, I get it. Sorry, I still can't get over the guess who and how much thought and work that they put into that. But then I got a little annoyed that some of the squares were cut crooked. I mean, if you're going to show it on TV, just take the little extra effort and cut it up to the up to the line, right? So speaking of insurance companies, did you guys see that I think it was Blue Cross and Blue Shield was going to limit anesthesia coverage by picking like some time frame for each surgery? After the CEO is assassinated, they changed their mind.
An about face tonight from Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield, reversing its plan to put time limits on anesthesia care in 3 states. An idea blasted by doctors.
I would love to have a one-on-one talk with the person that thought this was a good idea.
And policymakers.
I think the outpouring of concern that I heard from my constituents was just shock.
Connecticut Comptroller Sean Scanlon runs the largest healthcare plan in the state.
It's not in the best interest of the patient to cut off their coverage for anesthesia in the middle of a surgery just because it's reached some arbitrary time limit.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul called it outrageous. Dr. Gregory Levitin is a vascular birthmark surgeon.
Is this even workable in surgery?
I don't see how this could be applied across the board. Anesthesiologists do not control the amount of time that is spent under anesthesia. A surgeon who is well-trained has a protocol or step-by-step process for performing a surgery. It's not something that's time-dependent, but it's technically dependent.
In announcing the reversal, Anthem cited what it called widespread misinformation and said it never was and never will be the policy of Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield not to pay for medically necessary anesthesia services. Relief for patients, doctors, and policymakers tonight. Ann Thompson, NBC News.
Thanks for watching. Stay
Yeah,
updated
right.
about
Misinformation my ass. Yeah. Whoever, I want to know who came up with that for real. So when we were talking about Susan Simpson, I had mentioned the other situation of a missing woman and her husband being arrested. So this one is out of Manassas Park. The woman is still missing. So I have the latest with that next.
We begin with a breaking news alert.
And huge developments in a story that we've covered for months that has gripped our region. Naresh Bhatt, the husband of Manassas Park woman Mamta Kafle Bhatt, for more than 4 months is now charged with her murder and with defiling her body. Thank you for being here tonight. I'm Scott Thuman. We first broke news of this story and these new charges at 5 o'clock. And since then, police gave an update on their investigation with Mamta Bhatt's family members beside them. Our Liana Golden was at police headquarters. She's got the new details.
Well, this is what so many who have been connected to this case for so long have been waiting for. We have been to Manassas Park dozens of times since July 29th when Mamta was last seen. And tonight, the police chief said with certainty it is around that date she is believed to have been murdered in her home by her husband, Naresh. And today, a grand jury agreed with that, indicting Mr. Bhatt.
I want people to know that, we were here to get justice for Mamta, and I think we accomplished that today by getting the first-degree murder charge. And that's what was our goal from the beginning of this, based on what we were seeing.
From the very first time Naresh Bhatt spoke publicly on August 14th,
I need your help.
Manassas Park police knew he was lying about his wife, Mamta Kafle Bhatt's disappearance.
We stood back and listened, and that was one of the things we tried to see what he was saying to the public, and that's not what he was telling us was going on. So there were some incorrect statements made by him, misleading statements, which, gave us, more ammunition to go, hey, what's going on here?
He's officially accused of murdering Mamta, and while there may not be a body or even a smoking gun,
We confirmed that it is blood, and we confirmed that it belongs to Manta.
the evidence and bloodstains found in the couple's bedroom months ago is a match for Mamta Coughley Bott's DNA, leading detectives to believe he murdered and dismembered her in the home. That's what detectives needed to convince a grand jury he, and he alone, could be responsible for her murder.
This all points to one person, which is Naresh. The forensic unit of Prince William County said it was one of the worst crime scenes they've seen. That was one statement they made to the day that Naresh was arrested.
Naresh is scheduled to be arraigned tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Now, his trial was supposed to start next Monday, 1 week from today, but given these new charges, it's likely his trial will be pushed sometime into the new year. Reporting in Manassas Park tonight, I'm Liana Golden, 7 News.
Liana, thank you. And quickly taking you back through the last 4 months, this case starts in late July with Mamta's last known contact. That's when she had a video call with her mother. 4 days later, police went to the Bott's home for a welfare check after Mamta failed to show up for work. In this body camera footage, Naresh tells officers he and his wife were about to separate and that this isn't the first time she's left home.
We're looking for Miss Mamta Coughley.
Yeah, we see like on Tuesday, Wednesday, she left and then she says she's gonna go either New York or Texas, and then she left she had the phone and then she destroyed that phone and then she left.
Now, just 12 days later, Naresh attended one of the many community vigils held for Mamta. As Liana mentioned, this is where he spoke publicly for the first time.
Thank you for what you are doing, community, and then please keep doing. And then just I need your help in a all positive way. Just keep doing what you are doing, and then in a positive way, just help us in this tough time.
While police still have not found Mamta's body, it is not for a lack of trying. They've exhausted numerous man-hours scouring areas of Northern Virginia. Officers also combed the Manassas Park home that the couple shared with their 1-year-old daughter. Now, 7 News was there as police removed the child from the home. She was reunited with Mamta's mother and brother, who flew here from Nepal on an emergency visa. A month into Mamta's disappearance, 7 News learned that a second family had been living in that home. The 4 adults and 1 child, all from Colombia, had only lived in the basement for 8 months, but were understandably shaken up by what happened, and they decided to move. Now, we know we just threw a lot of information at you, and really this is only the tip of the iceberg. That's why our 7 News On Your Side digital team has put together a comprehensive timeline that you can see on our website, WJLA.com. Prosecutors, by the way, also say there was a history of domestic abuse in the family. So we've also shared the National Domestic Abuse Hotline in our online coverage. If you or someone you love is a survivor of abuse, just call the number on your screen. It is 1-800-799-7233. This is a confidential, free service that's available around the clock. Our coverage on Mamta and Naresh Bhatt continues tomorrow morning.
Yeah, it's so sad. I feel the worst for the 1-year-old baby who's never going to meet their mom because, dad's a jerk. I know that he was much older than her. I don't know if it was like where the families had them get together. Let me see. Let me copy her name here. Because I can't remember. I don't want to just say things and be totally wrong and be like that I'm confusing stuff. So let me look it up. Let's see. Well, I'll have to dig through this because there's too much information. Oh, he Googled how long does it take to get married after a spouse dies. That's some of the evidence that they have against him. And yeah, that's he's certainly an interesting character, isn't he? How long does it take to get married after a spouse dies? What kind of stupid Google question is that? You would get married when you would. Yeah, that's suspicious. Does he mean how long after the person is declared dead, or how long do they have to be missing for? Because that question doesn't make sense unless he's gonna like rent a wife or something. Yeah, it's all suspicious and weird. That I was not expecting to come across that at all. Interesting. And apparently, there's evidence that she was dismembered, but they're not saying what exactly yet. But they just like Suzanne Simpson case, evidence of that, because in this case they did find a bunch of blood. So the police feel that they have a strong case. Very, very sad. I wish that they would just get divorced. But yeah, that's a weird thing to Google. So another update from the judge that was shot by the sheriff. So the judge traded favors for sex, and there's an update from News Nation.
Before the United Healthcare CEO was gunned down on the streets of New York, the shooting that took our breath away was the killing of Judge Kevin Mullins right there in his own chambers. We know who fired those shots. It was on video right there. That was Sean Mickey Steins right there with the gun. He was the sheriff at that time of their rural Kentucky county. And he was also a close friend of the judge. And he's not a sheriff anymore. He's an inmate waiting for trial. But just like the CEO murder, the motive in the Judge Mullins case is a mystery, which means that the two men's long shared history has been under the microscope. And tonight, a gut punch of an exclusive to tell you about. It turns out there are recordings about the dead judge that tie him to some very dirty business in that county. A sex for favors scandal that sent a former deputy to jail and got the sheriff, who's now facing murder, sued in federal court. News Nation investigative producer Allison Weiner uncovered these recordings, and she joins me live now. You're such a great producer. I mean, we send you out to dig this stuff up, and then I have to have you on television to report it. What kind of a recording are we talking about, Allison?
Well, these are recordings from the criminal investigation into Deputy Fields, the guy that went to prison for the sex for favor scandal. And Deputy Fields was convicted of rape 3, of sodomy, and also of perjury. So the recordings are from his victim. And she subsequently has filed the civil rights lawsuit in federal court. The victim is Sabrina Atkins, and she was interviewed by police about what had happened to her when she was an inmate in Fletcher County in Whitesburg. And that's where Sheriff Stein was working, and also where Ben Fields was working. And these recordings, I was listening to them, and I just sort of stopped and was like, I'm beginning to see that Sheriff Stein's life was coming apart, like sort of one thing, one block at a time. And this was not a good thing that I was listening to. And let's take a listen to it, and then we can talk about it.
He does have some videotapes of some stuff in the judge's chambers.
What kind of stuff?
Just with girls' sexual and stuff.
What describe? Have you seen the videos?
I've seen one partly, just him having sex with girls for to be able to get out of jail.
Who was having sex?
Ben and just some higher ups up there.
Who?
The judge and.
You saw the video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What did you see on the video? I mean, you.
I mean, I've seen Judge Mullins having sex with a girl.
Who was the girl?
I don't know. Because I don't know a lot of people from over.
Where was it at?
In his office, in the judge's chambers.
Is that the same place that you were meeting Ben? Is that how you know it was the judge's chambers? And this was Judge who?
Mullins.
Allison, wow, that's pretty clear. That's her saying Judge Mullins was having sex with these people in his chambers, just like the other deputy. Here's the question I have, because it seemed to me that it became an open secret among female inmates that you can sleep your way out of jail because these men and these higher ups, not the ones necessarily on the screen, this is an allegation only, will have sex for these release favors.
That's correct. And by the way, the Sheriff Stein, denied during his deposition, which was a couple of days before the murder, that he had he had any idea that any of this was going on. But the fact is that the plaintiff in the lawsuit, again, Sabrina Atkins, said that she had heard rumors and that you could exchange sex for not having to wear your ankle bracelet. She didn't say that specifically, but for some favors. And that's exactly what ended up happening, because she couldn't afford to pay for the ankle bracelet. You have to pay for the ankle bracelet weekly. And those are the allegations in the civil lawsuit, that Sheriff Stein should have known or knew about what was happening with Ben Fields. And Sheriff Stein is the big name in that lawsuit. It's Sheriff Stein and unknown superiors and Ben Fields. So he was facing some heavy damages and the loss of his entire career based on this civil rights lawsuit. And frankly, the plaintiff's lawyers told me, Ned Pillersdorf has told me several times, because it's like they were running a brothel out of that courtroom.
Unbelievable. Well, I feel like it's just the tip of the iceberg, because there's still a lot more to connect Stein's allegedly murdering the judge based on what the judge maybe would have said to bring Stein's more into this picture. So you're invited back, anytime, just knock on the door and you're on. Allison Weiner, great.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.
I guess we will see what else comes out with that. I think there's a lot more to it. And why was he calling his daughter from the judge's phone? Definitely have a lot to wonder there, because the daughter definitely plays something into it. Let's see. So I got all that. All right. So just a couple more videos and then we will be done for today on YouTube. And then we're going to move over to Kick in a little bit to watch some Love After Lockup. And another case that we've been following for a while that has an update is the murder of Savannah Soto. There was a bond reduction hearing in that case. Running a brothel out of a courtroom. Sick. Yeah, that's only the tip of the iceberg. We'll definitely see what comes out of there. It's a small town, so anything's possible because they can get away with a lot more there for sure. All right, so here is a quick update in the Savannah Soto case with a bond reduction hearing. So there was a woman that was also arrested in this, other than the father and the son, that had to do with her hiding evidence.
It's been almost 1 year since the triple murder of Matthew Guerra, Savannah Soto, and their unborn child. And today in court, the mother of the man who was accused in that crime asked to get her bond reduced.
Yeah, Marta Romanos is facing several charges, including tampering with intent to impair a human corpse, for allegedly helping her son, Christopher Preciado, cover up that murder. Erica Hernandez takes us inside the courtroom as the judge decided if her bond would be reduced.
I will deny bond reduction in all three cases.
Judge Andrew Carruthers wasting no time in making his decision on the bond reduction motion filed. Mirta Romanos is accused of 3 separate felonies involving the murders of Matthew Guerra, Savannah Soto, and their unborn child. Soto was last seen alive on December 22nd, 2023. Days later, her body and Guerra's body were found in their car, which was parked at an apartment complex on the northwest side. A few weeks later, police arrested Christopher Preciado and his father, Ramon Preciado. The affidavit revealed Christopher allegedly killed the couple and had his parents help him cover it up. In surveillance footage shown in court today, Romanos can be seen handing her husband a towel that they used to wipe down the car the shooting took place in. Also, another surveillance video from the Preciados' home shows Romanos getting off the truck after returning home with several items.
2 people are murdered, including one of those who is about to have a baby. Those things make this case so aggravating that Ms. Romanos is facing a very lengthy prison time, and for that reason, she is even more of a flight risk.
Meanwhile, the defense said the amount was just too excessive for the charges for someone with no criminal history and wanted them lowered to $250,000. Via Zoom, Romanos, when questioned, said she no longer has any money and was trying to sell her home. Prosecutor Ryan Groomer went on to say that Romanos had made no efforts to show why she couldn't make the current $600,000 bond amount.
The bonds are more than appropriate for the facts of this case.
A fact the judge agreed upon.
The next time we will possibly see Christopher Preciado, Ramon Preciado, and Mirta Romanos back in a courtroom is later on January 27th. That is their next trial setting. At the communities.
Wow, it's already been a year. I remember when that happened and everybody was looking for them. Such a sad situation because Savannah's, I think her brother was also murdered before her, like the year prior or a couple years prior. That family had been through hell. So in like 6 weeks, there'll be another hearing. So we'll definitely stay on top of that. During Halloween, I had shared, oh wait, hold on. I got one more video. Sorry. And then I'm switching. Okay, so there was a convicted crime boss that was found dead, Michael Miskey.
Convicted crime boss Michael Miskey is dead. Circumstances are not yet known, but the 50-year-old was found deceased this morning at Honolulu's Federal Detention Center. What happens next remains to be seen in the sprawling criminal and multi-million-dollar forfeiture case that was Hawaii's biggest trial in decades.
Miskey was found guilty in July of racketeering conspiracy and 11 other felony charges and murder in connection with the disappearance and presumed death of Jonathan Frazier, a friend of his deceased son, Caleb, who died in a vehicle accident that Frazier survived.
It was certainly an astounding verdict that came from the jury after listening to months and months of testimony and evidence.
Miskey was awaiting sentencing in January and was in detention at Honolulu's federal prison meanwhile. Honolulu EMS initially responded to a medical emergency call at 9:18 Sunday morning and was there nearly an hour. The medical examiner's staff, which handles death cases, took over after that. From the time of the original charges in 2019, Miskey faced assurance of dying in prison if convicted.
What the prosecution was doing is we do know that they were seeking a death penalty early on in this case. And as it turns out, that's not what ended up happening. It's not what ended up going forward. However, when the jury found Michael Miskey guilty of all these different offenses, including murder and racketeering and conspiracy, it did require a life sentence.
So what happens next? A spokesperson for the federal court in Honolulu said it has not been determined how Miskey's death impacts other aspects of his case, such as more than $20 million in property and asset forfeitures, and for related party sentencing for a long list of co-defendants who mostly took plea deals or were separately convicted and are awaiting rulings on their own fate.
I think they're all going to be looking at the agreements that they made with the prosecution if they did make some sort of agreement. So if there was some sort of sentencing guideline that was going to be reduced because of their cooperation with the prosecution, that might need to be reevaluated.
Among the former co-defendants, Miskey's daughter-in-law, Delio Fabro Miskey, who had been Caleb Miskey's wife and mother of their only child. She was also involved in various roles at Michael Miskey's businesses that were targeted for seizure. She reached a plea deal and cooperation agreement with the feds last January and was awaiting sentencing herself. So what happens to tens of millions in seized assets that a jury determined to be ill-gotten gains?
I'm sure the prosecution is going to be trying very hard to make sure that the fact that the jury found Mr. Miskey guilty means that they can be able to still go forward and seize the assets. I'm sure they're going to have a lot of very strong arguments for why they can do something like that.
We've reached out to Miskey's attorneys and his family for comment and to hear more of what they know or want to know about the circumstances surrounding Miskey's death.
We would all expect that the Federal Detention Center would be operating all of their facilities at the highest levels, and that they would be taking care of all of their prisoners. I think what the attorneys for Mr. Miskey's estate will probably be asking about is just wanting to know what happened. They'd want to know if they'd want to make sure that there was a full-blown investigation into this, and then they'd be able to evaluate where things go from there.
Public record in a case involving a former Miskey associate turned witness describes retaliation and assault behind bars so extensive it required several moves and even solitary confinement. It's not known if Miskey was a victim or a suspected aggressor at the Honolulu facility.
Without question, prison is not a good place for people who've been involved in a lot of different criminal activities because they were part of a network outside. Once they're inside, that's a whole different ballgame. And there may be a lot of factors that I think the people in the facility have to really watch out for.
Okay. That was an interesting sentence there. That they got to look out for. Well, yeah, there's a bunch of criminals in prison. You have to watch out for stuff. That's normally how it works. I don't think that's like groundbreaking. But don't know if he died naturally or what. I guess we'll find out. So I have a inflatable dinosaur for my Christmas decorations that are coming. I am personally very excited. I've never had an inflatable anything. Very excited. It's coming. Ooh, look how cool that is. Anyway, my neighbor across from me has also a green dinosaur, a different one, so we'll match. So the whole reason I'm telling you about that is the next story I'm going to share has to do with people stealing Christmas decorations. During Halloween, I had so many clips of people destroying and stealing Halloween decorations. I swear to God, if somebody messes up my dinosaur, I'm going to be so pissed. But yeah, here's some jerk stealing Christmas decorations. You just decide, oh, that's nice. I like that. They're just going all around and that's crazy. I feel like the dog would be easier to steal.
She had a really terrible owner.
Oh God, I was not
She
expecting
was
that to
used for joy.
Oh God, kiddo scared me. She scared the crap out of me. But yeah, that was some jerk stealing Christmas decorations. Just walking up and unplugging them. You know what? We'll watch this story. So it is time for my favorite segment. What's the end game for stealing Christmas stuff? They're going to use it, I guess. Maybe they're just driving through and they don't live in that neighborhood. I would hope they wouldn't live in the neighborhood because that would be pretty stupid. But anyway, now on to my favorite part. All right, so the next story is going to be an animal in the news. This is about a camel that was rescued, and then I have an update on the dog Trooper that was rescued during the hurricane in Florida.
She had a really terrible owner. She was used for joyrides along the beach. He was riding her even when she was pregnant and when she had just delivered. Then there was this baby as well who wasn't able to nurse because she had mastitis, which was really painful for her. So it was actually a really, really tough situation for them. It literally breaks my heart when I try to think of what their lives would be had we not found them. she would have probably been in a world of pain. It could have killed her. And Khufu, he wasn't feeding. So I think he would have just passed away because he was too small and too delicate. There's a huge change in Nyla's personality. When she first arrived, so she was always on edge. She was unsure of people. She would be slightly aggressive. And now she's just a completely different camel. She's so calm, so gentle with her interactions with humans. Luckily, they were rescued quite early when he was still very, very young. When Nyla and Khufu came, they were so curious and they were so happy. I think the most beautiful part was when we removed the rope that was in her nose and she realized for the first time she's actually free. She actually stumbled a little bit because she wasn't used to that. She was like, oh, is this really happening? And then she took a moment to just see what's around her. And she started grazing and she knew she was home. When she first came, she would only lay down and she would only sleep, to the point where I actually got worried and I'm like, is she okay? But she was totally fine. I just think that she hadn't rested and she hadn't had a chance to rest in the longest time. And she just lay down and she was just like, okay, I'm safe. I can sleep. But little Khufu, he was just bouncing around everywhere, so excited to have such an open space. I think he's too small to realize the changes that were happening because he doesn't know fear, he doesn't know aggression. He wasn't abused as such because as soon as he was born, he was rescued. So he just knows love. He doesn't know anything but love. And you can see that in his personality. He's just this jumpy, crazy little camel.
Cairo, what's all this? What's all this?
The sweetest part actually was my other camel, Cairo, because he hadn't seen another camel in 3 years. So when he saw Nyla and Khufu walking in, it was just the most beautiful thing. He just came running straight to Nyla and she saw him and they just sort of met over the fence and they booped noses and that was that. They were in love. The biggest satisfaction that I get is just watching them transform and watching them realize they no longer have to be scared or worried. That's the biggest reward that I can ever get.
Yay!
It's
Hold
Monday.
on.
That means it's time for.
I know those camels are super cute, right? That little, especially the little baby camel. And now my dog is barking. So now an update on Trooper. He has found a forever family.
Beg News America, where our David Begnaud finds the heart in every story. And this morning, he's got an update on a dog that was abandoned in floodwater just as Hurricane Milton was about to hit the state of Florida back in October. And we're happy to say David's in studio. David, I know you love this story because you've been talking about it since the moment you stepped on set.
I do. Look, when Hurricane Milton was heading towards Florida, everybody else was calling to check on the storm and that kind of stuff, reporters, and I was calling the Humane Society of Tallahassee to say, I just want to do a story on this dog named Trooper. So from abandoned to adored, Trooper now has a new family and a new home, and we're going to take you there.
Look at this. This is Trooper Duper.
You are looking at the moment when Trooper the dog met his forever family,
We're going to be best friends, I can tell you that.
including his new sister, Dallas. The photo of their initial meeting seemed to say it all. It looked like love at first sight. But as many of you know now, this is where Trooper's story went viral. A call came into police that a dog was tied to a post.
I don't blame you.
Abandoned in chest-deep water as Hurricane Milton barreled toward Florida in October.
I am in love with this little guy.
But after meeting Trooper, we were confident
Look what I got.
that with patience,
Belly rubbed.
a little love, and yes, a whole lot of belly rubs, he was going to thrive in the right home. And over the last few weeks, hundreds of people have applied to be his forever family.
The outpour has been so great.
Amy Radar with the Leon County Humane Society in Tallahassee told us that they were looking for a very specific person to adopt Trooper. You see, bull terriers are a unique breed, known for being sweet dogs. But they are also high energy, strong, and bullheaded.
I don't always say people have to have breed experience, but for that particular dog, I think it's important.
He deserves it.
Yes. And pull the whole thing off to the top.
400 miles south of Tallahassee, in Parkland, Florida, near Miami, a friend forwarded a story about Trooper to Carla Spina. She showed it to her husband, Frank.
I said to Frank, did you hear this story? And see, I want to start crying. So he said, yeah, I didn't tell you because I knew you would get upset.
That is because the Spinas are bull terrier owners. But more importantly, they love this particular breed.
We've always had an affinity for bull terriers. That's the breed that we love, and they're special.
They got their first bull terrier named Crunchy in 1992, followed by Diesel.
Let's cut this way.
And a few years ago,
Crunchy.
They adopted Dallas.
When we saw Trooper, it was kind of relighting that same fire. We saw this dog. We know he needs help.
So they applied. But there was one major hurdle. Frank. You see, Trooper is wary of men because of his past trauma. And the Humane Society wasn't sure if it was going to work out.
So I said, well, how about if we get in the car and drive 7.5 hours to Tallahassee, and I'll show you what 33 years of bull terrier dad does. So we did that. And when we got there, they let him loose, and Amy said, Frank, why don't you sit on that bench and see what happens? And he came over and he got under my legs, and I started scratching his neck, and his foot started moving. And she said, perfect match.
And that first meeting, as you saw, everyone seemed to be pretty smitten.
It's Trooper! It's Trooper! Here's your brother!
We were there when Amy delivered Trooper to his new parents.
Now he loves you. She gives you kisses. They really like each other.
They do.
They're two buddies.
I've never felt this comfortable leaving him. We'll take good care of it. I know you will. And if you call me.
Wait, I brought
It's
the
happy-
sunglasses. There you go.
It's happy
Yeah.
tears, not
Yes.
sad.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
It didn't take long for Trooper to start making himself feel right at home.
We got you, buddy. We got you. You're in good hands with us.
And seeing him at his new home with his new dad, it's kind of hard to believe that's the same dog who was afraid of men.
We're just really happy.
Yeah, we're
and
really excited. We're really excited. It's almost like we had a baby. We just can't believe that a month ago we saw this news report, and now a month later he's in my bedroom.
For the Spinas, they feel like a missing piece of their family has now been found. And as for our buddy Trooper, yes, life was tough and it was rough. But what we can faithfully report to you today is that he seems happy.
We just wanted everybody to know that we're going to give him the best life.
We can't believe it. It's like a dream. It's like a dream come true.
And that's your good news for Monday.
That's a perfect ending, David. Bravo.
Trooper.
Yes, and you too.
Oh,
Great
we are
story.
too.
Thank you, David.
Good to see you guys.
Good to see you in the studio.
Now to the manhunt.
Oh my God, stop moving. Yeah, that's a great story to end it on. I'm so happy for Trooper that they found a good home. Make sure that you are following me on Kick and other social media. I will be on Kick later. I'm going to delay going on Kick with Love After Lockup. Joe Schmo is going to be on in a little less than an hour with Jack. Never True a Word. So I'm going to share the link in there in the chat. So definitely check them out. They'll be on in about 45 minutes. So there's the link. I love you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I will be back soon when, I don't know, I'll figure it out and I'll let you guys know. So make sure you're following me on Twitter and all the other places. I try to post on here when I'm going to have a live. But anyway, love you all. Bye.